Don't you know me? Don't you know that that's an impossibility, that could never happen? It is our time to do all we can do, and it's an urgent time. Don't you know that?
And now, Burnie Thompson, where the golden age of radio lives on.
Well, he's a phenomenon, that's for sure, isn't he? Donald Trump. He is a phenomenon. Is he a conservative, though, is the question. You know who says no? Rand Paul says no. You know who says he might be or he is? A lot of people. Who's right? Rand Paul, Senator Rand Paul says no. And you know who's going to win? You know who's going to win that in the court of public opinion? Donald Trump. That's who's going to win that in the court of public opinion. But who's right? Who is right? Is Rand Paul right? Is Donald Trump a conservative Republican? Bernie, he says he's going to throw the illegals out. Well, yeah. What else does he say? This is a very interesting discussion. I maintain that Trump is a pendulum swing from Obama, and Obama was a pendulum swing from Bush. That's what happened. I'm going to see if I can play some of this from Sean Hannity's show. It's interesting because Rand is coming off as pretty he's just grumpy. And Trump is just brushing everything off. Take a listen to this for a second. I want to share this with you. Listen to Rand Paul here.
King, who Donald Trump wanted to take her house through eminent domain. Someone's got to stand up for the people to somebody who I think basically has an authoritarian sort of concept of government. He believes that eminent domain should be used to take the property from a small property owner like Vera and give it to his casino so they can build a parking lot. This is what most conservatives in America, if you told them Harry Reid was for this, they'd
Donald Trump knows Supreme Court by the United States, by the supreme law of the land. Donald Trump doesn't care about that. Donald Trump cares about what he thinks is right. And as president, I'm going to do this. And do you know where he got that idea? More than anywhere else? Barack Obama. Barack Obama says he can do what? Hashtag any old thing. That's what Barack Obama says he can do. Any old thing, because he's got what? Two things. Remember? A pen and a phone. And with his pen and his phone, he can take his left hand and use his Mont Blanc for every signature and let it be written, let it be done, right? Let it be written, let it be done. Says who? Barack Obama, the valorous one, right? The redresser of all wrongs and abuses. Barack Obama. But he can do it, right? So why not a Republican? I'll tell you why not a Republican. And, you know, even Mark Levin makes me a little bit nervous. Mark Levin makes me a little bit nervous even because Mark Levin has been talking about, you know, we should go in there and do the same thing and reverse everything. That makes me nervous. What we need is not a pendulum swing, as I've been saying, right? What we need is something centered, something grounded in what? In liberty and in the foundations of this of the government that we have, of the government that we stand above. The first thing I would do if I were the king is I would reverse everything. Hashtags now. These hashtags, son, topsy-turvy. Speak. I would ask Congress to send me. I wouldn't sign it. Ask for it would be the to, is Donald Trump a conservative? Because I know a lot of you are very supportive of Donald Trump. And I agree with, by the way, Donald Trump has a very authoritative streak to him. As a matter of fact, I'm going to say something. I don't mean this to be insulting, okay? I mean this only as descriptive. Donald Trump has a bit of a fascist streak in him. All right? He really does. Obama does too now. They're just pendulum swings. They're just opposite. And I'll explain that more in a minute. But it starts with the cult of personality and with the I'm going to act now, act now, act now. And the extreme nationalism. There's a few things. But he does have an authoritarian. Rand Paul's right about that. And what is conservative about many of his policies? What's conservative about a protectionist economic approach, which is what he brings? We're going to beat China in economics. I mean, in trade. You don't beat somebody in trade. How do you beat somebody in trade? Explain to me. How do you beat somebody? We're going to beat China in trade. What? And he probably knows better. Probably does. I don't know. I'm surprised. Care Act. Government school, federal government school, you put your kid another penny, which is impossible. They've gotten so these of rounds, but Miss Sarah for somebody too. Then is not too civil. All right, if you have not yet iPhone, we're live, and What did Thomas? I don't.
Yeah. Being conservative, I don't think he's in anything, to be honest with you. He's definitely not a liberal. He's definitely not a Marxist. He's not a socialist. He's not necessarily a conservative. I think what he is a common sense guy, a very smart guy, a very competitive guy, and he knows how to succeed. And one of the things that he knows how to do is he always has the knack for going out and finding really good opportunities, and always going out and finding really good people. He doesn't work with slouches at all. He won't abide that. And he's beginning to talk about the type of people that he may be willing to listen to. And I don't know how much of it is media play or him just doing his thing, but I take him as an honest guy, even if he's not such a nice guy.
Here's what I think too, Patrick. I think that many Americans wonder if Obama resents America. I think he does. But nobody wonders if Donald Trump resents America. In other words, we think that Donald Trump understands. I think Donald Trump at least understands this. There is no GOP. There is no Democrat Party if there is no America. And right now, there is an urgency that there to even have in America, right? I mean, I think Donald Trump understands that. I think Donald Trump loves America enough to know. Maybe Donald Trump loves himself enough to know that if there's no America, there's no Trump. And you know what? That's better than what we have right now.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, anybody that actually has care and concern about this country right now would be a far cry better president than Barack Obama. He's made it very obvious that he hates this country, and he's said as much through the years in one way or another. Donald Trump, I do believe, I think he loves this country, and I do think he loves people. He's not a Ronald Reagan guy in showing his admiration or his good feeling for his fellow man, but he does show it a little bit in the way he will treat people in the way he thinks they deserve to be treated. If somebody is nasty to him, he has no problem being nasty back, and I can identify with that. But I also think that he does find ways to do good for a lot of people. And although he doesn't talk about it a whole lot, some of that is starting to come out more in his story. So it's something to look to. One of the things that really concerns me, Burnie, is looking at the big long-term picture. Obviously, with the trouble we're in right now with conservatism, isn't at play, and at play for a long time in this country, then we might just be putting a Band-Aid on a really nasty wound for a little while, and then still have to face, we'll still have to face the facts in the end. There's no free lunches; you got to pay the piper. So that does concern me. So I look more to a Ted Cruz or Rand Paul or somebody that's really a conservative that can right the ship and be followed by someone else to right the ship. But maybe we're asking too much at this particular moment in time, and maybe a Donald Trump that is not going to deal with the Bolshevik that is Washington. He's not going to have the establishment on either side telling him what the hell to do. I think he might be the remedy right now at this moment, and hopefully he will listen to conservatives and go from there.
It's interesting too, isn't it? Because at the very time that liberals, the left, called Rush Limbaugh, sort of made it embarrassing to be called a liberal, and then along came Barack Obama, and he embraced it with a vengeance. He embraced leftism with a swagger, right? And that is precisely at the time that Republicans recoiled from being conservative. So right when Democrats became the most brazen, Republicans became the most tepid. And one thing Donald Trump is not is tepid.
No, there's definitely no cool and easy for Donald Trump. He's going to come out with whatever he decides to do in a very, very bold manner. And I've got, like many other people, I've been looking for that huge mistake moment where he just blows it totally and pisses off 95% of the country. Well, so far he hasn't done that, and he's done some things that really, if it was anybody else, if Ted Cruz had done it or Rand Paul had done it, they would get totally blasted. But he's just not having any of it, and most of the things he says, while the things with women and all that, I would like to see that toned down a little bit, but at the same time, I have to look at America as a whole, and how often does that go on, and why will people stomach that a little bit? It's that part of him is kind of enigmatic. I don't understand why every time he gets in a dust up with somebody, he just gets that more popular. But that's the way it's going.
Dennis Prager one time, it's sort of like this. People focusing on Donald Trump's comments about women or whatever thing that they're talking about with Donald Trump. It reminds me of a time I was watching Dennis Prager about 5 years ago, and he was debating somebody on cable news. And the guy was doing a bunch of that stuff. And Prager looks at him, and he says, "Excuse me, the country is afflicted with cancer, and you insist on talking about athlete's foot." It was perfect. Donald Trump is talking at least about an invasion of America, and they want to talk about frivolous things.
Yeah, you still there, Burnie?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I dropped you for a second. And although at first I looked at him as kind of being one-dimensional in that it seemed to be all about immigration and I wasn't hearing much else, a little bits at a time, he's starting to show that there's other factors, too, that he looks at as far as trade, and et cetera. Now, I don't like the tariffs thing.
He's so wrong about trade. Oh, my God. Because there's a difference between being a good businessman and understanding free markets. There's a big difference there. And that goes back to the difference between a CEO and a president, by the way.
Yeah, that is a good point. He does obviously understand the economics of because he hasn't had to. He just has to understand. But that deep of economics in the free more educational
is not the same. And people in the macro always thanks for that right now. And in their phone. All right? And they don't stand limits upon that by the supreme law of the land, the Constitution of the United States. This is what concerns me about Donald Trump, and even more, it's what concerns me about Americans and Republicans who are saying, we love that Donald Trump is a straight shooter. He doesn't get bullied. We love this, right? And we do. I do too. But are we being swept away by that? Much like we did when we initially saw Chris Christie, the governor of New Jersey. We loved the way he set the teachers' union straight when they acted like fools, right? But we don't like his authoritarian ways. He is a big government prosecutor, and I mean big, right? This guy, Chris Christie. But Donald Trump is sort of the same. He has some of these similar qualities. All right, let's go back to the phones. And welcome to the Burnie Thompson Show. Who are we speaking with?
Hey, Burnie, it's Jamie. How you doing?
Hey, Jamie, doing great, man. Good to hear from you.
Hey, man. So I had to weigh in on the Donald Trump talk here for a quick second.
Okay.
He's been involved in the eminent domain dispute going way back. I think our social conscience, our memories are short.
Yes.
He's been very liberal in the past, and I don't think Trump really understands liberty, and I think that's what we have to get back to.
Yeah, he does not. He really doesn't, because I have talked about this I first read about this probably around 2000, something like, when I was learning about eminent domain. And I learned what he did. And I forget the name of the lady, but Rand Paul said her name. And I've been telling people about this. He went to the government and got them to use eminent domain to steal a woman's property so that he could build a parking lot in one of his casinos, but she was in the way. And you know what? I don't think that he ever even ended up building it. She lost it, and I don't think it was ever built. So, and that's coming up now because guys like Rand Paul are bringing it up, but that has bothered me for a long time about Donald Trump. I agree with you that not only is he not a conservative, I agree that he does not understand liberty or the limitations of government. But do you think,
right,
and I wonder what you'd say, do you think Donald Trump, Jamie, is more a reaction to Obama, or is he more a reaction to the rhino Republicans who refuse to check Obama?
Honestly, I think it's a little bit of both. I think that we've been sort of thugged over, screwed over, and our liberty and our country has just kind of been tossed around like a rag now. And I think it's kind of a response, and we're looking for sort of a thug that's going to be on what we think is our side. So okay, we're going to get back at the rhinos, we're going to get back at the liberals, and we see this brutish sort of Trump who could do that. It's like, oh, this is our thug, it's our team's time. But I think that's the wrong reaction to have. I think we need to get back to liberty and the confines of the Constitution. And if you look at the root of every major issue in this country right now, it's not because of a lack of government or a lack of a good idea and some kind of centralized planning strategy. The problem is we forgot our liberty, and we need to get back to liberty, and then the problems will start to sort themselves out once we remember sort of the heart and soul of this country. Because like I sent you over Periscope, that's a great app, by the way. If we forget our liberty, what are we defending? Mm-hmm. What's the wall for? What's the military for? What's it all for if we forget the heart and soul of our country?
Wow.
So that's just kind of how I feel about it.
Jamie, I appreciate it, man, as always. Thank you so much for being with us. MyFreedomRadio.com. We're everywhere now. YouTube, and the YouTube channel is My Freedom Radio, one word. Fox 28, WPGX, of course, and also Periscope. And if you're not familiar with the Periscope app, it's very exciting. It's a free app. You download it on your phone. Your phone will notify you if you follow me at Burnie Thompson. And I'm looking at my iPad, and I can see your comments. You can comment in real time and watch the show with the free Periscope app, live or afterward. It's amazing. You're welcome. And listen, I appreciate very much you bringing it back to liberty. You know, I got to tell you, I remember one thing I'm very grateful for is I think that this radio family, that this television family, that this group that links arms, you and me, doing all we can to expand freedom and protect the family budget, I have the best callers on radio or TV. I'm telling you, you listen to other shows. Do they sound like this? Are they making, the points that Elisha Cruz made, that Patrick made, that Jamie made? This is the best place for the marketplace of ideas. Don't you agree with that? And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you for that. All right, that's going to wrap it up for us today. The sand has run through the hourglass yet again, and I'm exhausted. It's the rest of it. All right, thanks so much. I'll see you tomorrow right here. Thank you.